And once they've done that, once they make their decision about whether they're not going to change, they are going to change, they're going to work on it, whatever it is they're going to do, then we make a decision about how we wish to proceed. If the person says, I am not changing, I'm going to continue to cheat, I'm going to continue to lie, I'm going to continue to steal your money. If they say that, then I have a decision to make about what I'm going to continue to do. The change doesn't happen with them, it happens with me. It happens with me. I make the decision about whether I want to stay in that relationship or not. Hi, I'm Dr. Tiff, your relationship transformation coach. I've spent the past 20 years working with high-achieving women just like you who are crushing it in every area of their lives, everywhere except their relationships. And look, I get it. Finding the one ain't easy, and relationships are hard. But you know what's even harder? Cycling through the bad ones, or worse, staying in relationships when you already know they're not a good fit. You want a relationship of ease, uncomplicated, someone to love you down, but instead you've been suffering through bad dates, sexual incompatibility, and someone who might be good for somebody, but not for you. And if we're really being honest, you know that deep down, the work that really needs to be done starts and ends with you. If you're done wasting time in dead-end relationships and sick of looking for, chasing after, or trying to convince somebody to be the one, and you're ready to become the one, then baby, you're in the right place. So prop your feet and let's clink glasses, because I'm giving you the tea and the tips to fix your relationships. Let's go. Hi there, it's me, Dr. Tiff, and this is the Fix Your Relationships podcast. I want to welcome you back to all of those listeners that we have, and then any new listeners, please come on in, pull up a seat, pour yourself a little something, let's clink glasses, because it's about to get real today. Well, before we get started, I want to thank each and every one of you that has left a review. It is so awesome to read your comments on the podcast and on particular episodes. It really does warm my heart. It makes me feel so amazing to see how the content that we're putting out is resonating with you. I got a review the other day that really just made me feel so great. And it was from Sarah E. Moriria. Left this review and said that the podcast was so refreshing, that she loved the episode that she listened to. Dr. Tiff's approach is such a refreshing reminder that healing your relationships start with healing you. Yes, Sarah, yes. That's what I want everyone to feel like everything starts with you. So many truth bombs about self-worth, boundaries, and not settling. If you're ever ignored red flags or lost yourself in trying to make something work, this is a must listen. Sarah, homegirl, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you so much for the feedback. Thank you so much for speaking to the people in the back and letting them know exactly how I feel about healing our relationships. In order to fix our relationships, we have to first fix ourselves. We have to do the work that's needed in order to heal, in order to propel ourselves forward, in order to find the one and claim our own spot as the one, okay? So I'm so glad that the information, the content resonated with you, and I'm so grateful that you shared your experience with the world, okay? If you would like to leave a review for me, I would love that. Just go to Apple Podcasts, scroll down from our podcast, go to our podcast page on Apple Podcasts, scroll down to where it says ratings and reviews, and there is a little button that says write a review. Once you click on that, you can give your girl a 5-star review if you like. I would appreciate it. And then just let me know how you're feeling about the podcast and what your thoughts are. And if there's a particular episode that you love, drop it. Let me know which one it was and what we did or said that made things click for you. I would love to hear it. Thank you so much for the feedback and keep it coming. Okay. All right. So today we are going to talk about the 9 reasons. I don't know. There may be more as I continue to talk. Things come to me. I leave room for the Holy Spirit. And I've asked him to just show up and show out for us today. Because if there's a reason that I didn't include, honey, please, Holy Spirit, just go ahead and drop it in the chat. Okay. So the reasons why we stay in dead-end relationships. Many of us stay in relationships well past the expiration date. Like, we know that they're over. We know that the person isn't good for us. We know that we're not compatible in a certain way, but we stay in those relationships anyway. And so today I want to talk to you guys about the why we stay in relationships that we already know are not our ideal. We already know that they don't bring out our ideal and highest self. We already know that we can be doing so much better. If we know that, then why do we stay? So I've come up with some reasons that we may be staying well after we should. And if anything, any of these reasons ring true for you, okay, a hit dog will holler. Any of these reasons ring true for you, just know that you have support, you have help in me. I would love to work with you on this. I actually have a few slots this month for my VIP intensive coaching, where I work one-on-one with you over the course of 4 sessions to help address your whys, to help address some of these issues that we're going over, and give you some tactical solutions and things that you can do in order to stop doing the things that you need to stop doing in order to get to the other side of this and ultimately find the relationship that you desire and deserve. Okay. So number 1, and this is not an exhaustive list, nor is this list in any particular order. Okay. The first reason why we stay in relationships, in dead-end relationships we know are already over, right? The first reason why we stay is because you believe that you don't deserve better. And newsflash, baby, you do. You absolutely do. If you think that there is better out there, okay, if you believe and see that something has been attained by someone else or that relationships can be better, there's no reason for you to believe that your relationships can't be better. They may not be able to be better with this person because that person is who they are and you are who you are with that person, but that does not mean that the relationships can't be better. Okay. And that you can't be better in relationship. Okay. A lot of times we stay in relationships because we believe that we don't deserve better. We believe that because of past mistakes or things that we've done or said, that we get what we get and we deserve what we get. And that is absolutely not the case. Okay. If you can see better, a lot of times God shows us what's possible for us, not to make us feel bad about where we are, but to show us that there is a possibility for something greater. Okay. And so if you know that greater relationships are out there, I need you to believe that you are capable of having that type of relationship. Now, that means that some changes have to happen, perhaps within you, perhaps within the relationship, right? Or outside of the relationship, right? It might mean that you have to get out of this relationship in order to see that come to fruition. Okay. So one reason that we stay in dead-end relationships is because we believe that we don't deserve better. And I have news for you today. You absolutely do, and you can have it, okay? The number two reason why we stay in dead-end relationships is because we've already invested way too much time and energy in the current one. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard some of my clients say, well, we've been together for so long. I've put my heart, my blood, sweat, and tears into the relationship. I've spent so much money, so much time. We've done so much together. It's been, X amount of years. I can't see throwing it all away. But also at the same time, I'm saying I'm unhappy. Let me give you an analogy that I hope hits home for you. If you had a car that you loved, and let's say when you bought the car, it was brand new, and you decided you wanted to keep the car until you paid it off. Right? And then after you paid it off, because this happens, after you paid that car off, things started to just, go awry. Okay. You needed a new alternator, and then you needed, new spark plugs. And then, the engine is failing a little bit. Now you need new batteries, and now the radio don't work no more. And you got in an accident. So this happened to the car. It's making noises, and, the warranty is off now. So everything is coming out of pocket. Every month you're putting $200 into the car for this, $500 for that, $150 for this, $1,000 for that. Now the maintenance is coming up, and because it's older, it's taking more money, and you're just putting more and more money into this car the older that it gets. You've invested so much in this car that you don't want to get rid of it because of how much money you keep putting into the car. At some point, it makes more sense to buy a new car than to hang on to an old car that you keep having to put money into, right? So just because I've invested so much and put so much money into it doesn't mean that I have to stay with it and keep it. At some point, it's more cost effective for if I'm spending $600 a month anyway on repairs for a car that I'm going to continue to be spending that or more on, right? It makes more sense for me to just get a new car, to get a newer model, honey, to trade that sucker in and get something that is more reliable, okay, more trustworthy, like might cost me the same, but it's a newer model, honey. She works just fine. I don't have to tell it what to do. It's an upgrade, okay? Just because you have invested so much time and energy, maybe money, I don't know, in your current relationship, if it's not working, it's not working, okay? And it may be time to dip out, to go ahead and get you a new model, okay? That is another reason why we stay in dead relationships, because we've invested so much. All right, the number three reason why we stay in dead relationships is we would rather not be alone, okay? Many people stay in their relationships longer than they should simply because being alone scares them, doesn't sound like fun, and isn't something that they would want to do. But they are unhappy, they aren't fulfilled, and they're lonely anyway, okay? I cannot tell you how many clients I've had and how many people I've worked with over the years that are married and single at the same time. And what I mean by that is, on paper, yes, they are married. But when we work together, we find out that they are incredibly lonely. They feel alone in their relationships. They're doing things alone. They feel like they're in it alone. They do all the heavy lifting alone. They don't feel like they're in a partnership. They feel very lonely, but they stay in those relationships because they would rather have that appendage, that person that is, on paper or technically there. But when they start to peel back and look at it, they're alone anyway, right? They're alone anyway. And so then that relationship is really more of a status thing than a true partnership or relationship. So sometimes we stay in those relationships past the expiration date, those dead-end relationships, just because we don't want to feel alone. We don't want to be alone, even though we feel alone anyway. All right. Another reason why we stay in dead-end relationships, and this one is number 4, is because dating sucks. Oh my goodness. Dating in 2025 or whatever year it is, okay? And especially as you get a little bit older, dating, like, it changes so much. If you've been partnered for a long period of time, the way in which maybe you used to date does not exist anymore. And it's hard to put yourself back out there, to think about getting to know someone, to know where to meet someone, having to go through the whole drama of, okay, is this person actually who they say they are? Like, are they being for real? How do I know that they're telling the truth? You're having to learn people all over again. You have to learn communication styles. People present themselves as one way and show up as something completely different. Dating absolutely sucks, okay? And so some people stay in relationships because they just don't want to start that process over again. They want to be with somebody, they want a relationship, but they don't want to have to go through what it takes to get there. And so they would rather just stay with a devil they know rather than finding another one. Okay. Another reason why we stay in dead-end relationships, this is number 5, is that breaking up could be costly. Breaking up could be costly. So when we've been in a relationship for a long period of time, we become dependent on one another, and some of that dependence may be financial. And so breaking up could be costly. Let's say you are in a relationship, a marriage, right? Divorce could be costly. And so some people stay together in a dead-end relationship because that whole saying of it's cheaper to keep her could be true. It could be that, like, rather than having to pay alimony or spousal support or child support or all the different things, I would rather stay together. We can be miserable. We can live in separate rooms. We can do all these things, but I don't want to be relationship might be over, but I can't officially make it over and move on because this person might take me to the cleaners or Or how about this? Like we break up and I no longer have insurance and I really need health insurance because it's crazy out here in these streets and health insurance is expensive. And I don't want to say health insurance is a minor thing because with people having real health issues, insurance could be the difference between life and death for some, right? So it's a very important thing. But to think that I have to stay in this relationship because my literal health and life depend on it. I don't necessarily want to be with this person, but breaking up for me is not an option because I can't afford to not be with this person for whatever reason. All right. So that is another reason why we stay in dead-end relationships. All right. Number 6, this one's fairly common. The kids. I had a conversation with someone a few weeks ago about being in a decades-long relationship with someone. And the only reason that they could identify as being in that relationship is because their kids had not reached the age of 18 yet. And acknowledge the both of us, want to divorce, but we will wait until our kids are 18, they go to college, they're out of the house and all of that. Okay. I just want you to know that when you are in a loveless relationship, a loveless partnership, and you are staying together for your children, I want you to think about what you are teaching your children about love, relationships, marriage, partnerships, whatever. Okay? Because it's not enough. Any parent knows this, that our kids learn from us, certainly by what we tell them, but they learn so much more by what we show them, the examples that we set for them, the things that they are exposed to. And so if they see their parents in the house, right, and they see that, maybe mommy and daddy don't fight, or mama, daddy and daddy, maybe my parents don't fight, but they also don't smooch. I never see them hug or hold hands. And they never go on trips together. They never, have date night. They never do all of these things. What they grow up and understand is that this is what love looks like. It looks like not holding hands. It looks like not kissing. It looks like not giving affection. It looks like, not making time for one another and stealing kisses and, hugging as soon as each other gets home and doing nice things for one another. It looks like the opposite of that. It looks like whatever it is that they see. So if you as a parent, and I'm not telling you ditch them kids, F them kids. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is I need you to look at and think about what it is you're teaching your children by staying together. Okay? Because you're teaching them something maybe different than what you're intending to convey to them. Okay. So staying because of the kids is one of the reasons why we stay in dead-end relationships. Not saying it's right or wrong, but just a reason. Okay. All right. Number 7, we stay in dead-end relationships because we don't like confrontation. Many of us will sit in silence, gnawing our own arm off just so that we don't have to say or do something that upsets the other person or get into any kind of conflict or argument. We don't like confrontation. We don't want to rock the boat. And so we don't say anything. And then we just stay. And we stay. Not only do we stay miserable. Okay. We stay in a situation that is not great for us because we just don't want to confront the issues that are in front of us. Number 8, the number 8 reason why we stay in dead-end relationships. And this is a very serious one because that relationship could be abusive and we're just scared. We're scared to leave. So many people are in dead-end relationships, and all of the things that I'm saying today is going to sound like, yes, but you don't know my partner. You don't know the type of hell that I would be in if I tried to leave, if I did anything, if I attempted to leave, if I even said I was thinking about leaving. And so I'm staying for my own safety, or I'm staying for the safety of my kids, because if I don't, my partner will do X, Y, and Z. Okay. That is a reason, a very valid reason as to why we stay in these relationships. I want to encourage you to find the help that you need, the resources that are out there in order to help you plan your exit strategy. If that is something that you want to do and something that you're looking to do, talk to your friends, plan how you could leave safely and what you need to do. There are ways, there are resources, and certainly, I want to encourage you to exercise those, find, shelters and domestic violence advocacy groups, and enlist the help of friends and family. If it means stashing away cash, stashing away clothes with relatives, with friends, doing the things that you need to do, making sure that you have, whatever type of documentation, police involvement, restraining orders, all of the things. I want to encourage you to get yourself to a safe place, you and your family or whomever, your kiddos, to a safe place. But it is a very real reason, a very valid reason for staying in dead-end relationships, just because you feel as though you cannot escape them. All right. Number 9, a reason why we stay in dead-end relationships is that we're hoping that one day the situation and or our partner will change. So many people stay in relationships well past the expiration date because they are in love with the idea of who their partner could be if they chose to be. They are in love with the idea of who their partner could be if they chose to be. Friend, respectfully, if they chose to be that person, they would be. What they are not doing is choosing to be that person. And so while you're waiting, you have no control over what that person chooses to do. If they wanted to be that person, they would be. Okay. So what we are doing essentially is wasting time on them to make a choice that they could ultimately make at any time or not. They could also choose not to make that choice. It is something that is well beyond our control. It is totally within their control. If they choose not to, then guess what? We have a choice to make. Okay. A lot of times we put that choice on them. We're putting the status of the relationship and whether we stay or not on them. If you will change, I'll stay. And the person says, okay, I will, it's a work in progress. I'm working on it. I'm going to do it. It's not a problem. I can do it. But then they never do it. They never do it. And we're sitting around waiting on them to change. Ultimately, their lack of change is their choice. Okay? My choice is whether or not I can accept that. And once you decide whether you want to accept their lack of change, you can proceed as you need to. People make their own decisions about whether or not they will change. What we have to do is decide whether or not we will live with their change or lack of change and then proceed accordingly. A lot of times what we do is we hear, okay, they're working on it or they will change, or we see that they have the potential to change and we're just sitting and waiting on that to happen. We have to stop doing that. We have to take a step back and articulate our concerns, articulate our needs, articulate what it is we want and need out of that relationship. That person can make a decision about whether or not they want to move forward in that way, whether they want to change or they don't. And once they've done that, once they make their decision about whether they're not going to change, or they are going to change, they're going to work on it, whatever it is they're going to do, then we make a decision about how we wish to proceed. If the person says, I am not changing, I'm going to continue to cheat, I'm going to continue to lie, I'm going to continue to steal your money. If they say that, then I have a decision to make about what I'm going to continue to do. The change doesn't happen with them. It happens with me. It happens with me. I make the decision about whether I want to stay in that relationship or not. You get it? All right. The last reason we stay in dead-end relationships, and this one is so wonky, is that we're waiting on something better to come along. So many people are in relationships right now because they think, and it's not about not believing, and the first reason that I gave you was you don't believe that you deserve better. Right? This isn't about thinking that you don't deserve better. You know you deserve better. But until better comes along, I'm going to stay in this relationship that I already know is a dead end, that I don't want to be in, that I don't, it's not making me better. I'm going to stay in this relationship until something better comes along. But here's what I want to tell you. Something better has already come along and passed you by because you're in this relationship. Let me say that again. Something better has already crossed your path probably 2, 3, and 4 times. You couldn't see it. You didn't recognize it. You weren't available for it because you were preoccupied in something that is a dead end, that is not going anywhere, and that keeps you from God's best, from what He has for you. I absolutely believe that. I believe that sometimes there's a concept. If you have ever been to an award show, or better yet, if you've ever seen an award show on television, like the Grammys or like Academy Awards or Golden Globes or any of those award shows, right? When they have those award shows, they have the artists that are, nominated. They have a crowd of people. They also have what are called seat fillers. I had a friend who used to do this too. Good little side hustle, if you can get it. They have what's called seat fillers. And so if you ever have watched an award show on TV, the audience always seems really full, right? But what we know to be true in production is there are people behind the stage. There are presenters that are getting ready to present that did have seats in the audience, right? There are musical artists that may be performing that, again, had seats in the audience. There are people that are just milling about. Maybe someone went to the restroom. Maybe somebody hadn't arrived yet. But on television, you want the audience to appear full. You want the viewing audience to see that the actual audience that's in the auditorium, we want it to appear full. And so what productions do is they hire seat fillers, people that sit in those seats so that the audience looks full. And when the person who's supposed to be in that seat comes, they move, right? The person that you are in a relationship with is a seat filler. And ultimately, what you need to do is get that person out of that seat so that the person whose seat it actually is can come in and sit down and take up camp and get romantic life. You are having someone sit in that seat that you know does not need to be there. And the person who should be there, who actually is, who God has ordained and wants to place in your life and has created this person, the person that you actually have been praying for, can't get in their seat because you got somebody taking up residence. I'm speaking to somebody. Somebody knows that what I'm saying is actual factual. It is the truth. You are wasting time in a dead-end relationship, waiting on someone else to come along, waiting on the right person to come along, when ultimately you need to get that person out of your life so that person, the person that you're supposed to be with, can come in. And what keeps you having that person in there is fear of being alone. Some of the things that we said already, like you already know, the relationship's over. I don't need to be in it. I don't want to make a move because I don't want to be lonely, or I don't want to make a move because of the kids. I don't want to make a move because what if I don't find anybody else? Well, guess what? That one is waiting on you. The blessing that you've been praying for, God wants to give it to you. He wants to desperately wants to give it to you, but can't because you won't let him. Can't. Because you won't let them. We have to get out of our own way sometimes so that we can get out of the situation that we're in, so we can get out of these dead-end relationships, so we can have the relationship that we desire, that we deserve, and that God wants to bless us with, okay? If you are someone who is struggling with getting out of your relationship, or know that you're in a dead-end relationship and just need some coaching on how to plan your exit strategy, or how to determine even if the relationship is dead end, if it's salvageable, if there's something that you can do or not do, or your partner could do or not do that could save the relationship or make it better, I would love to help you with that. Would love to help you with that. I have a few appointments this month for VIP intensive. I've told you that earlier in the show. Would love to help you figure out if the relationship is actually dead end, if it's viable, and what you can do to move forward. If you'd like to explore that VIP intensive opportunity with me, I'd love to have you. Just email my team at support@drtiffanyhenry.com. That's DRTIFFANIEHENRY.com. Support@drtiffanyhenry.com. Email my team. We'd be happy to set up a 15-minute coffee chat where we can talk about some of the issues that you're facing, and we can talk to you about what that VIP intensive actually looks like and if it might be a good fit for you. Okay? I hope that this episode has provided some clarity into your own relationships, why we might stay in our dead-end relationships. And look, sis, we've all done it, okay? We've all stayed in a relationship well past the expiration dates, but in order for us to get to the other side, to get to God's best, to get to the relationship that we know we desire and deserve, we have to get out of these relationships so that we can get into the right one. And I want to help you do that. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to Fix Your Relationships podcast. I'm Dr. Tiff, and I will see you next week. Ciao. Hey, babe, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. My goal with this podcast is to bless you with information that helps you fix those relationships that are most important to you, but not before you do the self-work needed to make sure that those relationships thrive. If this episode was exactly what you needed, then guess what? Somebody else probably needs it too. So do me and them a favor. Please share this episode with your good girlfriend and let her know about the podcast. And while you're at it, hop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. This really helps to grow the podcast and puts it right in front of other women who are desperate to work on their relationships and themselves. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to join our community of like-minded women all on a journey to become the one. You can sign up for free at becometheone.myflowdesk.com/email. I know that's a lot, so just go on over to the show notes and click that link there. Thanks again for listening to Fix Your Relationships with Dr. Tiff. I'll see you right back here next week.